Hello guys, this is Sandra here, welcome back to my channel, or if you're here, welcome. Train. Hello guys, this is Sandra here, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. It's a lovely to have you here and I hope you're gonna enjoy your time. So today is my third update for my pen palette project pen, which if you are new here, welcome. And in this project I basically try to hit pen in all of my eyeshadow palettes, and I want to have at least one pen in each of them. And I know that different people do it differently and call this project, you know, different names. That's what I do. And the way that I move the palettes along is as well that once I hit pen, then I roll a palette randomly in my little tiny decisions app, but then I decide which color I want to work on. So those are the basic rules, and I said that if I hit pen on 5 eyeshadows, then I can reset my whole project if I wanted to. But oh boy, do I have an exciting update for you, and you will see why I'm smiling like a lunatic. Yeah, this by far is my best update. I never thought I can do this in one go, but yeah, let's just go because I'm excited to show you my progress. So I'm going to start with the 2 palettes that I've been working on since the beginning. And the first one is the Jeffree Star Mini Breaker palette. This is my only palette from Jeffree Star. I do really like the formula though. And the shade I was working on is Double Scoop, which is this beautiful mustardy kind of color. And I've been struggling with this because the pen in this, it just seems so deep and the shadows are so pigmented. But look at that! Finally, we have a pen in that shadow and I am so super excited. So a lot of the times I use this shade as like the perfect transition shade for like any warmer kind of eye look. And it worked beautiful for that. I really like Double Scoop. My other favorite shade from this palette is Orange Soda. But yes, I deliberately chose this shade because it feels like it's like a shade that would work with colourful eye looks as well if you go like more down the orangey route or even with like a burgundy look. But it's also naturally enough that you can use it with like a coppery kind of shade or a gold shade. So I thought, you know, it's a beautiful color to work on in either way, and it took me about 3 months since the beginning of this project, but I finally hit pen on it, and I'm so super happy. So we'll definitely be rolling in at least one shade, but oh, just wait. So the next palette that's been with us since the beginning is the Nikki Tutorials X Beauty Bay palette. And in this one, I was working on this beautiful iridescent purpley pink shade that's on my lid today as well, called Pride. And while I was doing my eye look today, I finally hit pen in this. Now, because the palette and the shade is so reflective, I don't know if you will be able to see the pen, because even in real life, it's a little bit tricky to see, but there is definitely pen. I'm just not sure I can show it to you properly. Can you see that there? I think you can just when I tilt it. It's quite hard to show, but I am so super happy. This took me ages because it's such a pigmented shade, but again, I hit pen on it just today when I was actually doing my inner corners, and I used it quite a few times as a topper on like a pink or a purple nail as well. And on top of a purple nail, it made them look more periwinkle, so it was beautiful. And I am so happy to hit pen on it, even though it's the smallest pen in history. It's still a pen, and you know, these shades are going down quite deep, I have to say. But it's a beautiful palette altogether, and I'm so happy to have gotten use out of it. So we're going to roll in another shade. And now we're going to move on to the 3 palettes that I rolled in last update. So the first one is the e.l.f. mini bite-sized palette in the shade Berry Bad. And I was working on the muted pink shade in here, and I had quite a sizable dip in this already when I rolled it in. So I knew it's not going to last me long or take me long to hit pen, and I was definitely right. Look at that huge pen. I mean, yeah, it doesn't need more explanation. It's a huge pen, and actually it only took me 1 use to hit pen on it, and I used this a few times after that as well, so the pen is bigger. but it's a beautiful muted pink that's almost bordering on like a light brown kind of shadow. And I love it, that shade. It's so, so pretty. I mean, again, because it has a sizable dip in there already, when I rolled this palette in, I knew that it's not going to take me a long time to get there. And it's still a joy to use. I love these little bite-sized palettes. They're just so fun, so compact, and they are great value for money, and the quality on them is amazing as well. So another palette that I rolled in last time was the Revolution Reloaded Iconic Vitality. I have 3 of these palettes. I have 2 more, in obviously different shades. And I was wondering if I made the wrong decision, because I rolled in a dark brown shade, and those usually take me for ages to go through just because they're dark brown, and you know, there's only that much you need. And guess what? I actually hit pen on this one too. In 1 month, I don't know how I did that, but I hit pen on this today as well when I was mixing it with a dark purple for like a really smoky liner. And that's how I used it all this time. I used it as a smoky liner, and I'm so happy. Look at that. You can definitely see the pen right in the middle. I usually took like a little pencil brush to dig in there. Well, not really dig in there, but I was always trying to make sure that I concentrated in the same spot, because I was always using it as a smoked out liner. I tried it in my brows as well at one point, but even though it doesn't look like it in the pen, it is fairly warm toned, and I felt like it was too warm for my brows, so I did not like it that way. But it was beautiful as a smoked out liner, and I used it almost every day this month, or well, this past month, as a smoked out liner, so I'm super happy. I never would have thought that I can hit pen in a dark brown in 1 month, but I did. Now I have to say though, this is not the most pigmented dark brown, and I think that's why I could hit pen on it, and you know, in 1 month, because I also used it a few times actually on a fluffier brush to like deepen up my outer corner with just a simple brown smoky eye. And even for like a smoked out liner, I had to dip in quite a few times to build it up to an intensity I wanted to, even though it was just smoked out. How many times can you say smoked out? I'm not sure, but yes, that's 4 out of 4 so far. I was on fire last month, what can I say? And the last one was the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. And even though I chose, what's the shade I was working on? It's called a Gingerbread Latte, so it's a really nice light brown transition shade. I was not too sure if I can hit pen on it or how long it's going to take me, just because I got this palette in January of this year, I think, and I barely used it, so I'm like, it's such a new palette. I don't know how long it's going to take me, and the pens are quite a decent size as well, but oh my god, look at it. I can't hold it in any longer. There's another pen. 5 out of 5. I don't know what was going on last month or how I did it, obviously. On some of them I was working on for a while, but it's such a weird shape pen as well. Like, it's like in the middle, but it's like diagonal. I don't know how I did that, but I used it a lot just in my crease, just as a nice transition shade. Again, I was wearing quite a lot of brown smoky eye to work this month. If you couldn't tell, I'm so hyped that I managed to hit pen on all 5 shades I was working on. Now, obviously, the Jeffree Star and the Nikki Tutorials palette I've been working on since the beginning, but the other 3 I rolled in last month, and apart from the e.l.f. palette, the other 2 were barely touched and almost completely untouched, if I'm honest. Like, I haven't used them a lot, so for me to hit pen on both of them and yeah, finish this update with me rolling in 5 new shades, because I've hit pen on 5. I don't know how I did it, but I'm so psyched. I'm so ready to use some new shades, and yeah, let me show you what we're going to work with from now on. So what I did, I already rolled my 5 palettes and roughly decided what shades I'm gonna use, and I recorded my screen when I was rolling those shades, just so you know that I'm not cheating. And I have to say, it's an interesting selection to say the least. So let me do some swatches on my hand, and then I can talk you through the palettes that I'm gonna work on from now on. Alrighty, so this is our next color story, which is a bit more, you know, popsicle than than it was before, but let me talk you through of what I managed to roll, and I find it quite funny. So the first palette I rolled was the Colourpop Label of the Ball. So this is one of the little palettes of the Animal Crossing collection that they did end of last year, beginning of this year. I think it was the end of last year. I might be wrong, I'm not too sure. But I have all 4 of the little palettes that they had in that collection, and this one was the first one that I rolled in. And I think this is the only one of the collection that I actually haven't used yet. It's shameful, I know. I tried all the other ones, but I'm pretty sure this is the only one I haven't used yet. And the shade I decided to work on is Taylor's Ticket, which is this beautiful pastel purple. And this is the shade there on the top of my hand, as you can see. And because it has a bit of sparkle to it, this is a nice shade that if I wanted to, I can use as a nail polish topper as well. But I thought it will be easier than to work on the glitter, and the other 2 were just a bit too dark, and because it's the summertime, I was feeling something pastel-y. So we're gonna work on that beautiful pastel purple. It looks really, really nice. And then after that, we rolled another palette from the Animal Crossing collection, which is the Nook Ink palette. So it's the more green palette in the collection. I also did a first impressions or an unboxing on this, so I can link it up and in the cards. But that's what this palette looks like. As you can see, it's a beautiful green color story. And my favorite in this palette is actually the glitter. But again, I thought, I can't really work on a glitter, especially if it's green. Like with the pink one, I thought, you know what, that's really nice. And I feel like I can still incorporate it in an everyday look because it's fairly, I don't want to say neutral, but you know, light is the word, I don't know. I felt like I can incorporate it in more looks, whereas I feel like with a green glitter it's a bit more difficult. So I decided to go with the sparkly green shade in there called Yes Yes, and it's the second shade on my hand. I mean, look at how reflective that is. It's so pretty, and I don't know why my camera wants to focus on my finger, but yeah, it's that second green reflective shade, and it's a beautiful, and I'm really excited to create some looks with it. So then we rolled the Natasha Denona Mini Star palette. So this is a fairly new palette in my collection actually as well. It feels like this little app prefers all my newer eyeshadow palettes this time around. This one I bought last February before the pandemic when we went to Paris, and I adore this palette. As you can see, there's quite a bit of usage on it. Like there's a dip in there, a dip in there, a dip in there. And there's a little usage on the mattes as well, you just can't see it that much. And I decided to go with this light brown shade, since the first 2 colors, oh camera, there we go. Since the first 2 colors are so colourful and full on, that I decided, you know, I need something slightly easier. So I'm going to work on this beautiful light brown transition shade, and it's called Attic, I think, or Earth. I'm always confused when they put like the names on the back. Probably it's Earth, makes more sense. Anyway, the light brown transition shade is what I'm going to be working on, as you can see on my hand as well. I think that's one shade that I will be able to get a lot of use out of on an everyday basis, you know, just with a brown smoky eye, or with just a simple brown look all over the lid. I could use that as well. So I think that's one shade that's going to be quite easy to use. Now, I'm not too sure how deep these pans are, but I used them a little bit already, but not enough to make like a proper dip, not in the matte shades anyway. I have more of a dip in the shimmer ones, but they are quite pigmented as well, so it might take me a while to hit pen in this. I'm not too sure, we'll see I guess. But I'm excited to work on this anyway. And then I rolled again, and I rolled Label of the Ball again, and then I rolled the Mini Star palette again. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I rolled these 2 again. So then I rolled again, and I got another palette from the Colourpop and Animal Crossing collection. So this time around I managed to roll 5 Star Island, which is the more pinky color story out of the whole collection. And for some reason, I don't know why, I have a real fascination with this yellow shiny kind of shade. It's called Isabelle, of course. I mean, I like yellow. I'm wearing yellow nails at the moment, so, you know, of course I had to choose the only yellow in a pink themed palette. And that's the shade right there. I mean, I feel like I could just use it on my whole lid with barely anything else on it, even maybe the smallest hint of that brown or that next shade, that on my whole lid, and it's just going to give it a beautiful and natural reflective glow. I feel like, again, that's a shade that I could use on my yellow nail polish as well that I'm wearing at the moment if I wanted a topper, if my camera decides to focus. There we go. So I feel like, again, there are quite a few ways I can use it. If I really pushed it, I could probably even use it as a highlight and blend it out on the top of my cheekbones. With a bronzer, it could look really pretty, but I'm just really excited to work on that shade because it's such a beautiful reflective shade. I feel like Colourpop did a really amazing job on all the reflective shimmer shades in these palettes. It's just beautiful. And then, to round it all up, guess what I rolled last? Just guess. There are 4 palettes in the Animal Crossing and Colourpop collection. And yes, somehow I managed to get the last palette as well. So literally all 4 palettes that go in this little bundle together, where I usually keep them because they're so small I don't want them to fall over. I managed to roll all of them. So the last palette is called What a Hoot, and this is the most neutral looking palette out of all of them, as you can see. And I also created a look with this, whether in the unboxing or in a separate video, I'm not too sure. But again, because all the rest of the shades are fairly colourful, I decided to go slightly easier on myself and work on the shade Celestial, which is this really nice, slightly orange leaning transition shade. My camera has a hard time focusing. There we go. So it's this slightly more orange leaning transition shade, but I feel like that one with the brown and the yellow, like these last 3 shades could work really nicely together. Also, I feel like if I only use a little bit of that color and blend it out, it works perfectly as a slightly different kind of transition shade as well, with like a coppery eye. I feel like it could work really nicely. So I'm quite excited to use Celestial, and that's the one shade in the palette. I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see, but that's the one shade in the palette that has the smallest dip in there. You know what? I don't think you can see it. And while it has a little bit of a shine to it, I feel like that's a lot more matte, because on the hand, apart from a few specks of glitter, it seems quite matte. So yeah, I'm excited to work on it. Again, it has a little bit of a dip in there, but the rest of the shades from all these palettes are quite untouched. Like, I used maybe all these palettes once, apart from the purple one that I'm not even sure I used. And then the Natasha Denona palette I used a few times, but not massively. So I feel like I have my work cut out for me, definitely. And I'm just still grinning because I'm so happy that I managed to hit on all 5 shades in the previous round. So I have a lot to live up to, but I'm not sure I can do it in the next update because all of those are fairly untouched. So we'll see, but I'm definitely excited to work on these shades, and I feel like it's a really nice color story as well. I'm super excited to use this green and purple as well. They are just such nice shades. And hopefully I can, you know, make some progress on all these shadows by next month. We'll see. If you want to keep up with it, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the like. It would mean so much to me. I would love to have you as part of this little community. I just clearly can't talk today. But I think that's it for now. Let me know what you think, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye and have a lovely day.